Live, where news comes first. This is WECT News.
Good afternoon, I'm Kim Ratcliffe. Thanks for joining us for WECT News at midday. And new at midday, a man accused in an armed robbery over the weekend is due in court in just a couple hours. Wilmington police charged Zion Rowland with robbery with a dangerous weapon and possession of a gun by a felon. Officers arrested Rowland Sunday night after getting reports of an armed robbery on St. Andrews Drive near 17th Street. Several of you reached out to us about seeing officers in the area. The WPD says they did set up a perimeter and called on K9 Kraken to help find Rowland. He's currently in jail without bond and is scheduled to be in court at 2 o'clock this afternoon. New details now on Friday's train derailment in Wilmington. We've learned from the rail company there were 3 train cars involved, not 2 as we were originally told. We're still working today to find out what caused the cars to come off the tracks close to downtown Wilmington. While no one was hurt, it did cause a traffic headache for plenty of drivers. The crossings from South Front Street up to South 8th Street were closed for hours. They are back open now. That part of the line operated by Wilmington Terminal Railroad, which was recently awarded more than $600,000 in grant money for rail and switch improvements along the main line corridor in New Hanover County. WCT's Connor Smith is looking into the derailment and if those improvements could prevent a similar accident from happening again. In your first alert traffic at this midday, several road construction projects impacting your commute this afternoon. This one, a lane closure in Brunswick County at NC 133 near 87. The right southbound lane closed. It closed at 9. It'll stay closed between the hours of 9 and 5 all week, wrapping up on Friday. Then in the same area, also closing this morning at 987 near 133. It's the right northbound lane that is closed there. There's also a lane closure as you're leaving Carolina Beach, US 421 near Spencer Farlow Drive. They're doing some bridge inspections, so the right northbound lane is closed today and tomorrow between the hours of 9 and 4. Niels Eddy Road near Fertilizer Road east of Regalwood is also closed in both directions. That closed at 7 and will remain closed until May. They're building a new bridge there. Lastly, the Elwell Ferry is closed near 87 in Bladen County. They're doing some maintenance work. That should reopen Wednesday morning at 8. And that's a look at your first alert traffic. Commissioners in New Hanover County plan to move ahead with a plan to spend $300,000 on some school improvement projects. That includes phase 2 of the emergency repairs at New Hanover High School. Commissioners also agreed to put up $1 million for a new park on Greenville Loop Road in Wilmington. The vote passed 3-2. The city and the endowment committed funding for it last week. Bladen County Commissioners meet today. People can weigh in on funding application for Bladen County Emergency Medical Services. The second hearing has to deal with budget priorities for the county for the rest of the fiscal year. If you want to give your input, commissioners meet at 6:30 at the courthouse on East Broad Street in Elizabethtown. And today, town leaders will discuss possible changes to how voting is done. Leland has multiplied in size over the years, so the town's thinking about having voting districts. No official plans are laid out yet on how the districts would work. Town Council will get information from staff and legal counsel during their agenda meeting at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Time now to get a check on your first alert forecast for this President's Day with Chief Meteorologist Gannon Medwick.
Hey Kim, good afternoon. I feel like yesterday I needed the wipers to get from point A to point B. This afternoon, I'm probably reaching for the sunglasses on my way out of the office as your Easy Pro Express First Alert Skycam network documenting what's happening in a lot of neighborhoods, maybe your neighborhood as well. That's clouds breaking up for at least some sun intervals. And with that, temperatures making some gains, modest as they may be, from the 40s this morning, 50s, say, around school bus drop-off this afternoon. I've got to show you a trip back into the fridge and even in some cases the freezer. That's some chilly stuff. First thing tomorrow, a whole menu of lower and middle 30s. And provided these brisk breezes that we're in the company of today slacken off as I expect tonight, there is a chance that a little bit of isolated fog and a little patchy frost could be something that you need to contend with first thing tomorrow. But the next big thing is a substantial warm-up, gradual as it may be. It's pretty big when you compare apples to apples to apples. That would be high temperatures today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, day 3 for Wilmington and the inland zones. On the mainland, a good chance that we're feeling 70s by the middle of the week. That's a check that I'm not sure we're going to be able to cash right along the water, but even here, the progression is up for the beach. A little housekeeping before we keep that first alert forecast going even deeper in time. That's a look back to yesterday. A helpful rain system all across the Cape Fear. I was looking at some of the tallies town by town this morning. Even our lower end tallies were at least around 1/4 to 1/2 an inch, and the airport closer to an inch. All beneficial as moderate to severe drought is officially ongoing for the Cape Fear region. Our next best percentages with a front over the weekend. Doesn't look like the same kind of system as this last one that will harbor some chillier air across the board late in the weekend and into next week. But Kim, in between now and then, it's all about that warm up. And you notice we even keep the 70s train rolling Thursday and Friday after that aforementioned trip on Wednesday. Nice little stretch. Back to you.
Well, the search for Nancy Guthrie, now in its 3rd week, continued over the weekend as investigators worked to comb through more than 30,000 tips. NBC's Jennifer Borkelin is on the ground in Tucson with the latest.
Today may be a holiday, but there is no time off for the investigators who are working this case. All the days are running together, and now we're hearing that they are looking at some 30,000 phoned in tips since this investigation began. But as Today Show host Savannah Guthrie posted in her Instagram feed last night, they still haven't gotten that one tip that brings their mother home. Investigators did have a busy weekend conducting several court-ordered searches but making no arrests. The sheriff's office says DNA from someone other than Guthrie or anyone close to her was collected from her property, and as they're working to identify who that DNA belongs to, they're hoping to match it to DNA on a glove found 2 miles away, which they say is visually similar to ones worn by the subject seen on camera at her front door. We are told preliminary results on the glove have been forwarded now to the FBI. Technology is also playing a big role. Drones fitted with Blue Fly, which detects devices that emit signals like a pacemaker, have been deployed, and camera caches are being scraped to look for more images of the person seen at Nancy Guthrie's door on that doorbell camera in the early morning hours the day she disappeared. So now on day 16 of this investigation, all this painstaking work is taking place, some of it behind the scenes, and they're hoping for a break that breaks this case open and provides some answers. I'm Jennifer Bjorkland in Tucson, Arizona. Now back to you.
Heads up to check your mail. You might get a letter from the State Board of Elections. They're sending letters out to more than 240,000 voters. If you get a letter, it means the ID number you gave when you registered to vote may not match other records. The Board of Elections is asking to update your records by providing a driver's license number or social security number. This will not affect your voter registration. It's just part of an effort to make voter rolls more accurate. North Carolina public schools are getting more than $11 million to expand mental health services for students. State education leaders say the money will help recruit and train more school psychologists, especially in rural and high-need districts. Right now, many schools do not have enough mental health staff to meet student demand. State leaders say this funding could mean faster access to counseling, earlier intervention for students in crisis, and more support inside classrooms where kids are already struggling. It appears a school in eastern North Carolina is in the Epstein files. What appears to be immunization records from Havelock Middle School are part of the millions of files the Justice Department released. Havelock Middle is in Craven County. The shot record is dated October 2000. The document says Craven County at the top under the county header and HMS as the school, and you can see Havelock Middle on the side. It's not clear what connection this has to Epstein or anyone who may have been around him. Our sister station has reached out to Craven County schools for comments. Covering the Capitol, where Congress is in recess despite a partial government shutdown, the nation's governors also heading to Washington, and President Trump hosts the first official Board of Peace meeting. WECT's Washington correspondent Katrin Asaf has your week ahead in Washington.
Despite a partial government shutdown beginning Saturday morning, members of Congress will not be on Capitol Hill this week. They're taking the traditional President's Day recess despite funding for the Department of Homeland Security lapsing after lawmakers failed to reach an agreement on the agency's budget. It comes as Democrats are demanding guardrails on ICE and Border Patrol operations. Also this week, the nation's governors head to Washington for the National Governors Association meetings. This year's visit has been met with controversy, as President Trump initially only invited Republican governors to the White House for what's been a traditionally bipartisan meeting. He then reversed course and invited every governor, though he did exclude 2 from the annual White House dinner, Colorado's Jared Polis and Maryland's Wes Moore. Both Democrats have clashed with the president. And Thursday, Trump is set to host the first official Board of Peace meeting. He created the board to oversee the Gaza peace plan. More than 20 countries are expected to participate. However, many NATO allies have declined invitations to join. That's your week ahead in Washington. I'm Katrin Asaf.
Reddick drops to the bottom. Alongside Elliott, in the wall goes Herbst, and Tyler Reddick comes to the line. Wow. A shower of sparks behind him.
What a last lap and what a finish at the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 staying rain-free this year, allowing a full 500 miles on the track. The last lap, complete chaos with not one but 2 huge wrecks. In the end, the driver of the 45 car, Tyler Reddick, whose car is co-owned by Wilmington native and basketball legend Michael Jordan, crosses the finish line first and into victory lane.
Look, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It feels like I won a championship, but until I get my ring, I won't even know.
All right, what size ring do you wear? Did you tell me?
Size 13. Size 13.
Hey, happy early birthday.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
Jordan's birthday is tomorrow, so a great gift to be able to win the Daytona 500. This is both Jordan and race winner Tyler Reddick's first Daytona 500 victory. The UNCW men's basketball team continuing to stay on the right track this season. The Seahawks hosting Hofstra for homecoming on Saturday, coming away with a victory. They win 70-66 over the Pride and remain first in the conference. They're back home this Thursday against Monmouth. For the women's basketball team, a close loss at home on Sunday against Campbell. The Seahawks fall to the Camels by just 2 points, 54-52. The women hope to bounce back this Friday when they travel to Stony Brook. And remember, while the Winter Olympics continue this week, we will not air our usual WECT News at midday or First at 4 newscast, but we will still bring you your top stories and weather updates at noon and 4 on live stream. You can watch on our website, Facebook, and YouTube pages. Thanks for joining us for WECT News at midday. We hope you have a great afternoon.
Layla Thompson was the first Black woman to graduate from Wilmington College, which is now the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. She earned a bachelor's degree in education in 1967. After graduating, Thompson went on to teach in the New Hanover County schools for more than 30 years. For nearly 2 decades, she served as the president of the Willis Richardson Players, a theater group that worked to put local Black actors in the spotlight.
Stream One-on-One with John Evans podcast on these platforms or on WECT.com. Politicians, business leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, and entertainers. You'll know them better after hearing them on One-on-One with John Evans. Sponsored by Great.
Some think a reverse mortgage is too good to be true, but if I thought it took advantage of anyone, especially retirees, I wouldn't have done one for my own parents. Call for your free guide.